All right, let's get into it. Let's get into it. I'm gonna just summarize the rest of Kelsey Harris's testimony. She was finished for the day. Day 4 of testimony wrapped up Kelsey Harris, and I'm just going to summarize the rest of her testimony. Now, I did a synopsis during the lunch break today, where I talked about Kelsey coming into court during the morning, and now I'm going to complete the rest of her testimony because she's basically done. I think she was a very interesting witness, and she had a lot to say. But when she came into court this morning, she was still under direct examination from the previous day. So she was under direct from prosecutor Kathy Ta. And this is what she had to say. You told us that you wanted to speak the truth in September 2022. She said, I don't remember. And then at this point, Kelsey turned towards the judge and said that, Your Honor, I don't remember any of this stuff. And she keeps asking me the same questions. And I thought that was funny because Kathy Ta was pretty much asking the same questions that she asked the day before. But hey, that's what it's like sometimes when you're not a cooperative witness. Even though Kelsey is a prosecution witness, she is not. She's a hostile witness. Okay. Then she said, "You don't seem to remember anything that is incriminating against Tory Lanez. You did not want to answer the question if Tory Lanez threatened to shoot you." She said, "My mind is fogged up. Yesterday, you didn't remember what Tory Lanez said about the $1 million. And at this point, the defense attorney, George McDessian, he objected because he said all these questions have already been asked and answered. And it was true. The prosecutor was asking some of the same questions from the day before. But the judge overruled it, and he allowed the questioning to continue. She asked, was argument about Megan sleeping with Tory Lanez? She said that Megan backstabbed me. Then she went on to, you claimed yesterday that you didn't see who fired the gun. That's true. I honestly did not see who shot. And that was the end of the prosecutor's direct examination. The direct examination ended this morning at 11:34. And then it went into cross-examination. So now Tory Lanez's lawyer starts to question Kelsey Harris. And this is how it started off. He started off saying, you were given immunity yesterday and you evoked your Fifth Amendment. And she said, yes. Did you discuss with the judge privately your concerns that you had about testifying or about incriminating yourself? She said, yes. In that meeting, it was only you, your attorney, and the judge. Yes. Did they say that you can still be charged if you perjure yourself? And she said, no. So at this point, it seemed like there was a little confusion on what she meant, what she thought immunity actually meant. And then at this point, defense attorney McDessian said, Your Honor, she should speak to her lawyer if she doesn't understand what her immunity is. So then they walk out for a little while. Her attorney, Nardoni, and Kelsey Harris go into the back about 2-3 minutes. And then they come in And then then he continues, do you know that perjury can still get you prosecuted? And then she said, I understand. Do you understand use immunity? Yes. Now, use immunity is not the same as full immunity. Have you ever met me before? No. Now, if you remember yesterday, there were a whole bunch of questions that the prosecutor asked Kelsey about defense attorneys bribing you, Tory Lane bribing you, the defense. Did anyone from the defense contact you? So now the defense attorney for Tory Lanez is saying, have we ever met before? No. Have you met anyone in my defense team? No. Any phone calls from us, defense team, to you? No. Have you spoke to Tory Lanez? No. You did meet Tory Lanez after the shooting? Yes, to get my suitcase and belongings. And then he asked, from July of 2020, when this incident happened, July 12th, to September of 22, that's when Kelsey made the first statement. So from July of 2020 to September of 22, did you ever make any statements to the police or prosecutors? She said no. And that's actually true. She completely did not cooperate with the investigation. And every time that they tried to reach out to Kelsey in 2020, 2021, and 2022, she either hung up the phone, said she didn't want to talk. So then the defense attorney asked, it wasn't until you became aware of the gunshot residue and that the defense theory in this case that you decided to come forward. You learned that the defense was going to say you were the shooter, and then you decided to meet with prosecutors. Then she didn't really have an answer. And then the defense attorney said, did you ever actually receive any money from Tory? No. And then she actually said, I want to make this very clear. I have never received any money from Tory Lanez. And I guess there had been some rumors. I guess Megan put out a rumor that she had received hush money, but it turned out, well, I don't know. I was going to say it turned out not to be true, but if she received $1 million, there's no way you could hide receiving $1 million, receiving $500,000, even receiving $100,000. There's going to be a way to trace that. So she said, no. Did the prosecutors pressure you to meet with them? And she said, yes. Did they want to clear up if you were the shooter? I don't remember. But then you agreed to meet with them so that no one would accuse you of being the shooter. I don't know. Well, you did not agree to meet with the police or the prosecutors in 2020 and 2021, not until you learned about the defense theory in this case. Did the prosecution pressure you to meet? Yes. So the only thing that changed between not meeting with the prosecutors and meeting with them was learning about the defense theory in this case, the GSR and the defense theory saying that she's the shooter. And then she said, yes. In that September 2022 meeting with the prosecutors, your goal was to incriminate Tory Lanez. She said, no. Well, were you truthful in September 2022? No, I wasn't. Did the defense ever meet you, meaning himself? Did the defense ever meet you? No. Are you afraid of Daystar Peterson? That's Tory Lanez's government name. She said, no. Have you spoke to him in 2022? No. Any of his people have you spoke to in 2022? No. So from September of 2022, when you met with the prosecutors, and to today, did anyone contact you? Defense attorney, Tory Lanez, defense team, any people from this camp contact you? No. She said no. Did the defense pressure you? No. Did the prosecution pressure you? And she said yes. So this is not really going well for the prosecution. And remember, Kelsey Harris was called as a prosecution witness. So this witness is supposed to be helping the prosecution. And at this point in time, she's actually hurting the prosecution's case. Okay, and then at this point, they take a lunch break, and then they come back at about 1:46. She resumes her cross-examination, and McDesian asks her, "Do you remember getting swabbed for GSR when you were arrested?" She said, "No, I don't remember that." After evidence showed GSR was positive for you, you met with prosecutors. She said, "I met with them because I was subpoenaed." Now, that turns out not to be true. She was never subpoenaed to meet with prosecutors. She was actually subpoenaed to come to court, or actually she was ordered to come to court by the judge, but she was never subpoenaed or ordered to meet with prosecutors. I don't know if maybe she's just confusing the processes and not clearly understanding what they mean. So after September 2022 meeting, did you think you were done with this case? And she said, yes. Were you telling the prosecutors stuff so that you can be done with this case? I thought I would be done. You said you wanted to free yourself from this case. Absolutely. I want nothing to do with this case, she said. Were you aware that Rock Nation wanted to sign Tory? And then there was an objection, and there was never an answer for that question. Yeah, I'm up late, LK Miller. Just wanted to do this video. I should have did this video earlier, but hey. All right, so then it's not what you know, it is exactly what you can prove. That's what these trials are all about. They're not about the truth, unfortunately. Yeah, there's some truth. Sometimes some trials have majority truth, half truth, mostly truth, but it's all about presentation. What narrative can you convince the jury to be true? So then the defense attorney started asking about going to Kylie Jenner's house. You went to Kylie Jenner's house with EJ and Megan. She said, yes. Were you guys drinking? Yes. You didn't see Tory arrive or get there, did you? No. You were drinking too much. She said, yes. Was Megan drinking? Yes. Was Megan drunk? She said, we were all drunk. Then at some point later on, you saw Tory in the pool with Kylie Jenner flirting. Yes. Did you see Megan at this time? Yes. What was Megan's demeanor when Tory was in the pool with Kylie flirting? Kelsey said that Megan was irritated about Tory being in the pool with Kylie. And then he asked the defense attorney, did EJ say at this time it was we should go? And she said yes. Did he tell Megan it's time to go? I don't know. But she didn't want to leave. So EJ was still there at this time. Yes. Now, did you have a bag or a suitcase? Yes. Were your belongings packed? And she said at that time, EJ packed all their belongings. So were the bags inside Kylie's house? Yes. So who moved the bags from Kylie's house to EJ's car? She said, me and EJ moved the bags. So at some point, Tory's driver was going to take you and Megan home. Well, I don't know how that was decided, Kelsey said. Well, you had to move the bags from EJ's car to Tory's car. Yes. Then what happened next? Well, we left. Well, did Tory leave with you? No, he stayed. After you left, what happened? We drove and then we went back. Well, whose idea was it to go back to Kylie's house? It was Megan's idea. Megan wanted to go back. She said that she forgot or left a slipper. And also, let me just also throw in here that when Megan testified on day 2, she said the reason why she left, she wanted to leave with Tory was because EJ had left already. That was her excuse. EJ left already, so we were going to leave with Tory. But we learned during Kelsey's testimony that EJ was there the whole time, and EJ didn't leave until Megan, Kelsey, and Quan drove them off. They both left they left at the same time. So that's just, keep that as a note, as another perhaps misinformation that Megan testified about, or maybe she just didn't forget. Remember, they're all drinking and they're all drunk. Okay, so Megan wanted to go back because she said she left the slipper. I'm gonna tell. Oh, that's funny, actually. AG just asked, is there court tomorrow? Yeah, there's court tomorrow. There's court tomorrow. I believe the prosecution is going to put on 1 or 2 more witnesses. All right, let me get through the rest of Kelsey's testimony. Give me 1 second. I want to block this spammer who's putting these links in here. All right. Okay, so Kelsey and Megan leave in Tory's truck, driven by Quan, and Tory stays at Kylie's. Now, we talked about this before, but this is now coming up again while the defense attorney is cross-examining Kelsey Harris. And then at some point after they drive off, Megan says, I forgot a slipper. I want to go back. Then the defense attorney asked Kelsey, did Megan make any comments in the car about Tory and Kylie? And she said yes. She said that Tory wanted to stay with Kylie. Did she want to come back, Megan? Yes. So when you guys got back, who went in? She said Megan went in, and Quan and herself, Kelsey, stayed in the car outside. And then defense attorney asked, well, when she came back out, did she have a slipper? The slipper that she claimed she forgot? She says, I don't know. They just rushed out. Did they say Kylie said they had to leave? Yes. All right. So then the defense attorney asked, so how long did you know Tory? About 5 or 6 months? Yes. You seen him many times? Yes. Now your relationship went from a friendship to more than friends? Yes. And didn't Megan want you to be more friendly with Tory? Wasn't Megan the one that connected you guys? Yes. Now in the car, after leaving Kylie's, was there an argument? Yes. Now, the defense attorney is very specific about the argument that he's about to ask Kelsey about, because during direct examination by the prosecutor, Kelsey was just like, everyone was arguing. We were all fighting. We were all drunk. We were all calling each other names. Defense attorney, he's like, I'm about to get to the bottom of this. I'm about to figure out what really went down. So he said, who was the first argument between? I don't want to hear everybody was yelling, everybody was fighting. Who was the first argument between? And he got her to say the first argument was between Megan and Tory, started arguing about him not wanting to leave Kylie Jenner's house. And then while that argument's going on, Kelsey stated that she jumped into the argument to defend Megan, to defend her because Tory, I guess, was getting a little disrespectful in the argument with Megan. And then at this point, does Tory say to Megan, it's time to tell the truth it's time to tell Kelsey the truth. And Kelsey said, yeah. And the truth was that Megan and Tory had been in an intimate relationship. The defense attorney said, how did you feel at that point? She said, I was caught off guard. I was confused. I was upset. I was angry. And then at this point, the defense attorney is asking, so did the argument shift now between you and Megan? Now it's just you and Megan arguing at this point. She said yes. Then Megan didn't want to argue anymore, asked Quan to pull the car over. This is the first time they pulled the car over. Remember, there's 2 times. The first time, Megan gets out the car. It is believed to be on Sunset Boulevard in Hollywood. The defense attorney asked, was this on Sunset? She says, I don't know what street it was, but it was a big street. And at this time, she wanted to get out of the car. Megan wanted to get out of the car. And she said, yes. Did she sit by a bus stop? She said, yes. She had a bikini on. She was on Sunset Boulevard and she was sitting at a bus stop. Yes. Now, did she decide on her own to get back in the car, or did Tory have to get out the car, walk over to her and convince her to come back in the car? And she said, yes, Tory had to get out the car and convince her. This is very important because when she testified on day 2, she said that she got out the car and that she realized herself that, damn, I got this bikini on, I got a thong on, I'm on Sunset. Let me get back in the car. But apparently, Tory got out the car and convinced her to come in. So, I mean, we basically have the conflicting testimony from 2 people who have admitted to lying. So you got to determine which one do you believe. Now, when they got back in the car, were they sitting in the same seats? She said yes. And at this point of this trial, everyone should know where everyone is sitting at this time. Does everyone know where everybody was sitting in this car at the time? There's 4 people in the car. Who's driving? I got to make sure you guys are paying attention here. Seat positions are very important here. And I think the seat positions is one of the most important things that's going to help the jury determine their verdict. Seat positioning. Quan is driving. Who's sitting in the front seat? Who's sitting in the front seat at this time? This is after they left Kylie Jenner's house and then they stopped for the first time. They all sit back in the same positions as they were at when they went back to Kylie Jenner's and got Tory. No, Kelsey is not in the front. Megan is in the front seat. These seat positions are very important. Megan is in the front seat. And it's very important because when Megan gets out the car, she walks forward in the same direction of the car. But then there's going to be some evidence that suggests, well, she walked backwards to the back seat where Kelsey was, then turned around and went forward. So did she get out the car and start walking forward, or did she get out the car, walk towards where Kelsey was at, and then go forward? Very important, these seat positions. Kelsey is behind Megan, correct. She's on the passenger side. You got to understand these seat positions in order to really make a determination on what happened in this, what happened the second time they get out the car. All right. So, all right. So Tory gets out the car on Sunset, talks to Megan, convinces her to get back into the car. They get back in the car in the same seat positions. Nothing changes there. All right. Then the defense attorney says, so were you still upset, though? Were you still upset? And she said, yes. Kelsey said, yes, I was, because she stabbed me in the back. She backstabbed me. Yes. She's talking about Megan. Was this the first time? This was a great question. Defense attorney asked, was this the first time that Megan backstabbed you? No. Now, did arguing continue again in the car after Tory and Megan got back in? Yes. This time, who was the argument between? Now, remember when Kelsey was answering these questions by the prosecutor, she did not give any specifics. She just said everybody's arguing. But this defense attorney is trying to go step by step. And then she said that this time the argument was just between Megan and Kelsey. Kelsey said it was between Megan and Kelsey, and it was about her backstabbing her. So they continued to argue again after they all got in the car. And then the defense asked, well, if this wasn't the first time she backstabbed you or backdoored you, but after she did this to you the first time, you remained friends with her, right? Yes. But after this backstabbing, you didn't ever talk to her again. Yes. Now he asks, did you and Megan get into a fight? And I need you to be truthful, Kelsey. Remember, you have immunity. And she kind of paused. I looked at her. I had to look at her this time. I was like, oh, is this defense attorney gonna pull some answers? And and her answer was so vague. Her answer was, there was alcohol. Her answer was, there was alcohol. Now here's the question again. Did you and Megan get into a fight? And please be truthful. Remember, you have immunity, so you can admit anything here. And her answer was, there was alcohol. What do y'all think about that answer? Did you and Megan get into a fight? There was alcohol. Blame it on the alcohol. Okay, so then the defense attorney didn't get the answer he wanted at that point. And then he said, okay, I understand there's alcohol. Trust me. But after she did this to you again, after she backdoored you with Tory Lanez, when you got out the car, was there a physical altercation, Kelsey? Be truthful. And then she said, well, we probably bumped each other. I was like, okay, he got a little something. This defense attorney got a little something. She said, we probably bumped each other. But it still wasn't good enough for the defense attorney, McDesian. He said, okay, but she backstabbed you multiple times, and you're telling this jury it was just a bump? I need you to remember that it was more than a bump, Kelsey. You guys were yelling and screaming, right? Yes. So when you guys got out the car, were you still arguing? I don't remember. We both got out the car at the same time. We were drunk. I'm sitting there like, damn, Kelsey. Kelsey doesn't want to answer anything. But I got to admit, though, the defense attorney was getting better answers from her, but she was still evasive. L.K. Miller says they squabbled up. You know what? After hearing the testimony today and the way she answered it, I was saying there's no doubt in my mind that they squabbled. And I'm going to go into more detail about this squabble in another video. And it's going to blow your mind. It's going to blow your mind what I'm going to, the theory that I'm going to postulate. But when you guys got out the car, you were arguing. I don't remember. We got out the car at the same time. We were drunk. So you only remember a bump? Yes. Was it more than a bump, Kelsey? I don't know. You have immunity. Was it more than a bump? And she didn't really answer. And then he says, how do you feel about Megan Thee Stallion? Well, he didn't say Megan Thee Stallion, but how do you feel about being backstabbed multiple times? And she said, betrayed. Did you ever hear anyone say, dance, bitch? She said, and this is when she gave the most natural and free answer. She says, no, I never heard that. I don't know where that came from. And at that moment, I'm like, okay, Kelsey, why don't you answer all the questions the way you answered that one? That felt genuine. She said, I never heard that. I don't know where it came from. And then the defense attorney goes back to the bump. Now, didn't the bump occur in the back of the car? She gets out, comes towards you, bump near the back, then walks to the front. And she says something like, maybe, probably. Is that where the bump occurs? In the back? In the back meaning she's in the back seat. So by the back passenger door. Is that the right way to say it? The rear passenger side door. So where did this bump happen? So she says, there was a point. Oh, here's what. Didn't the bump occur in the back of the car? This is very important too. Where this bump or the fight occur. I'm trying to remember, but yeah, there was a point we walked at the back of the car. So let's get this straight here. I don't know if you guys can see this. Too bright? Let's see. I thought I had a model car. This was very important that the defense attorney was able to get her to say that, yeah, there was a point that we walked to the back of the car, because Megan says she got out the car and started walking forward in the direction of the car. Got out the car, walked forward. But if Megan and Kelsey had some sort of physical interaction, Megan would have had to come back to the car where she was getting out at, and get into it with her. Megan denied any of that. Kelsey didn't really want to answer, but she said, yeah, there was a point we were at the back of the car. So something happened to make Megan walk back to where Kelsey was at and then go forward where she eventually got shot. And then the defense attorney asked her, did you tell the prosecution what they wanted to hear so you could be done with this case? I wanted to be out of this case, Kelsey says. I want nothing to do with this case. You lied about a lot of stuff in that September 22 meeting with the prosecutors. And she said yes. And that was the end of the cross-examination. Then there was redirect by the prosecutor, and she said she went right into the text that Kelsey sent to Justin. She asked, "Why did you send that text to Justin?" Does everyone remember what that text was? Does anyone remember that text? This is an important text also, because if you're of the school of thought that Tory did shoot Megan, you're going to look at this text as supporting evidence, perhaps. Because in that text that was sent to Justin at, let's say, 4:22 a.m., the shooting happens at 4:18. She sends a text at 4:22 saying, Tory shot Megan. So the prosecutor on redirect said, "Why did you send Justin this text?" Her answer was, "I was in a panic. I just assumed it. But it was 4 of you there. Yes. You discovered Meg was shot." Well, I was told she stepped on glass. And this is actually true. When Kelsey went to the hospital, Megan's team was there and they were trying to play damage control. And Megan's team was spreading the narrative that she stepped on glass. Well, if there's only 4 of you there, this is now on redirect by the prosecutor. If there's only 4 of you there, did Megan shoot herself? I don't know. Well, was Jaquan, the driver, involved? She immediately says no. Nobody is throwing Quan under the bus at all. I'm sure Quan is watching this trial and he's very satisfied and happy that both sides have nothing negative to say about Quan. I want to meet Quan because I feel sorry that Quan had to go through all of this. So the prosecutor asked Kelsey, "Well, was Jaquan involved?" She says no. Okay, so we know Jaquan's not involved. So who else could have shot? And then she asked her, "Did you consider going to urgent care for your injuries?" Yes. Your neck was hurting, your chest was hurting? Yes. And you told us that your neck and your chest were hurting from being dragged out the car. And the prosecution believes that Tory dragged her out the car and assaulted her. So the prosecutor asked her, your neck and your chest, everything hurts from you being dragged out the car? And she says, "I don't remember." Now, this is really important here, and I'm just going to give you guys a little bit of tidbits. Tory is sitting on the driver's side of the car, backseat driver's side. Megan's in the front. So if Megan got out and went to the back, and Tory is sitting on the driver's side passenger, who the heck grabbed Kelsey's hair and dragged her out the car? Who the heck grabbed Kelsey's hair, dragged her out the car? We know it wasn't Quan. He's sitting in the front. Oh, Quan did an interview, Urban Flavors? Oh, you got to send me that link. Send me that link. I want to check out Quan's interview. I definitely want to check out Quan's interview. So the prosecutor said you wanted to go to the doctor, urgent care, because of the injuries. And we do have evidence of the injuries. Photos that Kelsey took herself, bruises, a patch of her hair was kind of missing. She had a little bald spot, indicative of getting your hair pulled. And my question is, I guess I was going to ask, how often do men pull women's hair when they're mad at her? It can happen. It can happen. The men I know, they don't pull women's hair, but I do know there's men out there that do. You know. I think the fastest move that a man's gonna do to a woman when he's angry, a physical one, is well, let me see if you guys know. What's the quickest thing that a man's gonna do to a woman physically when he's upset? I'll come check that out. And then the prosecutor asked, well, I tried to reach out to you in 2021. Yes. But you refused to talk. Yes. We even tried to accommodate you with another date. I'm not sure. So the first time we ever met, the prosecutor's asking Kelsey, was September 14th, 2022. She said yes. And this is the first time we actually have a date of this interview that Kelsey gave to the prosecutors. Everyone was just saying September. First, it was just I think we didn't have the month. Then we got the month. Now we got the date, September 14th of 2022. That was the first time that Megan met the prosecutor. That Kelsey met the prosecutor. She asked, "You knew we wanted to talk." Yes. "You said you felt pressure from us." Yes, I felt pressure prior to coming, but then Kelsey said, I didn't feel pressure per se from you guys specifically that day. I felt pressured of coming. I felt pressure when people coming to my door, people threatening, telling me I'm going to go to jail if I don't come. But Kelsey was gracious enough to say that the prosecutors themselves during that September 14th meeting didn't really apply any pressure. The theories that you were the shooter are false. Yes. And you even posted that those theories were false. Yes. Did you shoot Megan? No. No further questions. There was a little bit of recross by the defense attorney where he said, you could be charged with perjury. You're aware? Yes. Are you aware that there's a witness that says you're the shooter? Then there was an objection and there was no answer from Kelsey. But that was a slick question that the defense attorney threw in there. Are you aware that there's a witness that says you're the shooter? That's the first time we're hearing this. I know in opening statements, the defense attorney said there's a witness that says he saw two girls fighting. But I don't recall him saying that there's a witness that says that he saw her shooting. I think he was just trying to get in her head. Then he continued, when did you hear about the GSR test? Kelsey said, way later. Then you learned that there was a witness that saw you, and that's when you decided to come forward. And she didn't really answer. And then lastly, the defense attorney said, are you familiar with these words? And he says, this was actually the funniest part. I'm taking shots at you, bitch, and I'm bussing. And then Kelsey said, can you say it again? And then he repeats it. And then he asked, aren't these your words? I'm taking shots at you, bitch, and I'm bussing. And she said, yeah, it was a diss track. Yes, and it was a diss track in response to Megan's diss track, right? Yes, but they're just rap lyrics. And that was the end of Kelsey Harris's testimony. She was excused, subject to recall, but I don't think she'll be coming back. And that was it for Kelsey Harris. And I'll answer a few questions before I tap out for the night. Anyone want to okay, I'll go through a few of these. And so, yeah, send me that Quan interview. Alex, do you think Tory can win? Absolutely. After hearing both Megan's testimony and Kelsey's testimony, I think it's going to be difficult for 12 jurors to say Tory shot her. I don't know if he'll get a unanimous not guilty verdict, but it is going to be extremely difficult for 12 jurors to say beyond a reason, without any reasonable doubt, I believe Tory shot him. I think that's going to be a hard conclusion to come to. They all sound like assholes, and Quan is just trying to drive. No, did Quan really give an interview? She's scared to implicate herself as a shooter. She probably did it. Well, she was given immunity. Even though she was given immunity, she was still extremely hesitant on answering questions. I've never heard, usually when you get immunity, it's like, okay, now I'm free. Yeah, we were gambling. Yeah, I had a gun on me. Yeah, I was, you don't have nothing to worry about. You're not going to get charged. This woman has immunity and she's still like, I don't know if there was a fight. I don't remember what happened. It's just, Megan was beating the brakes off of her. Hey, I'm not going to say too much about it because I want to save that for another video. But that might be true because again, Tory is sitting in the back seat behind the driver's seat. How the heck does he get out the car and grab Kelsey's hair, assaults her, and drags her out the car quickly? Because this happens quickly. And if Megan and Kelsey both testified that they both got out the car first, Tory never got out the car. So who beat up Kelsey? Who pulled her hair out? How'd she get all these bruises? How did her chain break? If Tory never got out the car, who beat Kelsey up? Now, after the shooting, Tory gets out the car. At some point, Tory walks over to Megan after the shooting's over, but I am talking about the beating that happened immediately when they got out the car. Before the shooting, there was a beating. That's the way I see it. Hey, ODM Slam is in the house. Tory shot Meg, right? I don't know. Tory shot Meg. Help. That was the text. Yeah. That was the text. China's here. Grab of the neck. That's a soy. Hey, that was my question. What is the first thing a man usually does to a woman when he's mad at her? It ain't gonna be a punch. What's the first thing that comes to most men? Is grabbing that neck. Pulling the hair. Hey, there's probably some men that do it, but I'll grab the back of her hair and pull it backwards so her face is to the sky before I need to throw hands on her. Yeah, that's a possibility. But women are notorious for grabbing hairs during fights. Notorious for doing that. Speak on Triple O Frog. How can Tory win if Meg said Tory shot her and Kelsey says she didn't shoot Meg? How can Tory win if Meg said Tory shot her And Kelsey said she didn't shoot Meg. Well, that means you have to judge the credibility of the witnesses. Megan said there wasn't a fight. There was a fight. Megan said she didn't walk to the back of the car. She did walk to the back of the car. Megan said she wasn't even tripping about Tory Lanez and Kylie Jenner. She clearly was tripping about Tory Lanez hanging in the pool with Kylie Jenner. So if Megan says Tory shot me, you automatically believe it. If I can systematically show you 6 lies that she said in her testimony, I could tell you then you got to disregard her whole testimony. One lie, you could disregard an entire testimony of someone. I can count probably 6, 7, 8 lies she said. Oh, she said when she got out the car the first time, she decided on her own to get back in the car. Evidence is that Tory got out the car, spoke to her, and then she went back in the car. So sounds like Kelsey is trying to protect Meg for some reason. It sounds like Kelsey just doesn't want to talk about no one. She definitely doesn't want to throw Tory under the bus, but to a certain extent, she's protecting Meg too. The only thing she says negative about Megan is that she backdoored me multiple times regarding guys that she was dating, and she didn't like it, obviously. But she's not saying that Megan grabbed her, Megan fought with her, Megan argued. She's trying to just keep it. She doesn't want any part of this. Biggie remix of Who Shot Ya? Hey, that would be you know what? Somebody's writing the song right now based on this trial about Megan, Kelsey, and Tory. I don't know if they're going to wait till the verdict's out or they're going to drop it now. Who shot you? Who shot you, Megan? Whose fingernail is that the police do a DNA test on? Well, they didn't have to do a DNA test on the fingernail. That fingernail is Kelsey's fingernail. Kelsey's fingernail. The theory is that the fingernail broke in the physical altercation. Prosecution says that the physical altercation that Kelsey had was with Tory Lanez, but the defense is saying no. Megan and Kelsey got into a fight, and that's why her chain broke and her fingernail broke. So who thinks who do you think put hands on Kelsey? Who do you think put hands on Kelsey? Roughed her up, dragged her. Her thigh was all bruised up. She had one of those thigh burns. There was a photo like a thigh burn, like she got dragged a little bit. Donnie Z says it was Megan. Let's see. Between Megan and Tory, who do you think put hands on Kelsey? Let's see. Megan. I accidentally popped out of the thing. All right, let me see. Let me see who think. I'm gonna see if anyone thinks Tory did it. I think Kelsey whipped Meg. I might have to agree. No. I think Meg whipped Kelsey because Kelsey had more injuries. Megan dragged her and beat her. I think all 5'10", 200 pounds of Megan grabbed that girl and touched her up. So who has a motive to grab a weapon and shoot Megan? Did Tory Lanez shoot Megan because she dissed him? She dissed his artistry and said he was a lesser artist. Like, who really has the motive here to shoot Megan? Because if you think Tory Lanez shot Megan, what at that moment in time would have compelled Tory to be so upset to grab a pistol and shoot Megan? He just got out the car when Megan was at the bus stop and said, "Come on, babe, come get back in the car. You sitting out here with a thong? You Megan the Stallion? I know you and Kelsey is going through it right now, and that's my bad because I opened my mouth. But get back in the car." He just got her to come back in the car, convinced her to come in the car, and now within this second incident happens like within minutes. So they're on Sunset. Now they're off of Hollywood Boulevard and Nicholas Canyon Road. So who has more of an incentive to be that angry to shoot? Who got backstabbed, backdoored, and then who got hands put on? And then remember this, at the end of this whole shooting, Megan gets back in the car. Now, if a dude shoots you and you that upset, do you get back in the car with the same guy that shot you? Maybe. I'm just asking the questions. I'm just asking some questions here. Kelsey can never go after Megan for assault because she's sitting here denying everything. If she filed a civil lawsuit against Megan for, let's say, a couple $100,000 for hospital expenses, Megan's attorneys are going to say, well, look what you said in this trial. You said that there was no, you said it was a bump. You said there was a bump. You can't sue for a bump. All right. I'm going to be on here for one more minute. I'm going to make this an even 60-minute live, and I'll be back in court tomorrow morning. There's going to be a couple more witnesses. It looks like this trial is going to go until next week, Monday. Tomorrow will be the 5th day of trial testimony, but it looks like it's going to go into the 6th day on Monday. And also on Monday, which is the 19th, Eric Holder is having his pre-sentencing hearing for this first-degree conviction of killing Nipsey Hussle, his first-degree murder conviction for Nipsey Hussle, which he's trying to get reduced down to a voluntary manslaughter. So that's happening also on the 19th. So I don't know how I'm going to go dip into there and then hear what's going on in this trial. But I could tell you, if they got some witnesses happening for this trial, I'm going to stay in the Tory Lanez trial and then just find out what happened at the pre-sentencing hearing of Eric Holder. So I want to thank everyone for tapping in. Hey, I see you, Urban Flavors, but I'm about to just call it a night. And I'll be back on tomorrow. I'll be on during the lunch hour. Check me out around 12:30 I'll be online to give an update of what happened in the morning.